Hey there, Sorry here. We got some new toys today, so figured I would play with them a little bit and see what we can do. They're both currently EX1. Unfortunately, they only put in 50 shards for each of the units in the coin shops. So my Taivas will not be reaching EX2 today. We'll have to wait for some login shards and some frag dungeoning for him to get there. But, it is what it is. As soon as he does hit EX2, I definitely plan on taking him into the series boss battles. I think he's going to be really good for my team going up against Kefka, but I am going to try and finish up Vlad and get that out today. And then I'll probably redo Vlad with Taivas once he reaches EX2. But anyways, for now, we do still have the current Vision World that is still up and running. Clash of Wills is over. That's okay. This Vision World hasn't been particularly difficult. I mentioned that in my previous video. You've probably already gotten rank 1, but if by chance, for some reason, you were waiting around for these units, great. Here you go. Here's an example of how to use them in the current Vision World. I wanted to do an Elite Soldier team because that is the overdrive that Taivas has. His works on all overdrive units, and his leader skill is for all light units. So I'm building sort of both a light and Elite Soldier team here. All right, you might remember this guy, Stern, from way back when. So he was a free NV Plus unit from yesteryear, and he is an Elite Soldier and is a light unit. So I'm bringing him along mostly because he chains with Crimson Knight Rain. So they both chain Mirror of Equity frames. So that's kind of why I'm bringing him along. If you had Clive would be a much better slot in. I don't have Clive, but Clive would be a much better slot in place of Stern because you can bring Prompto, who has both a fire and a light Imperil field, and he chains Mirror of Equity with Crimson Knight Rain. And so that would be a much better Elite Soldier squad. I just don't happen to have Clive. Didn't get lucky on ad summons, and, it is what it is. But yeah, so we've got Wilhelm. Everyone here, except for Prompto, is an Elite Soldier, but we don't really care about Prompto. He's just here for the Imperil fields. You could easily replace him on this team, too. You honestly don't even need the Imperil fields because Taivas brings the big 200% light Imperil. So, frankly, Prompto's not even needed here. We're going to do so much overkill damage. So you can slot in just another DPS unit in there if you would like, and probably do just fine. But, I'm just showing you how to get it done with this team. Let's take a look at the gear real quick. I went fairly budget on the gear, I'm not using any Clash of Wills gear here because we don't need it. So just high attack gear, whatever you have lying around. Wilhelm, obviously, with his TMR, STMR. I'm not using any EX abilities, even if my units are EX3, I'm not going to slot any EX abilities, at least, well, I should say, not any EX abilities with flat stats, right? I will use some EX abilities to help with the passives on units like Taivas and Rain, but that's it. Wilhelm just needs 200% fire resist because we're going to have plenty of fire resist buff on the party, so that gets him covered. Otherwise, just maxing out his killers. He does need chain cap boost. Give him whatever card you have. Obviously mine's EX3, so he should have his own vision card, but I don't want to assume that yours is EX3. So he should be all good on everything. Let's see, 300 beast and 300 fairy, 300 LB damage. Good to go. So Taivas, so the best 200 greatsword that I have is True Lionheart. That's Squall's, Sorceress's Knight Squall. That's his STMR. Best one that I have. So we've got Taivas's TMR and STMR. Equipped Crystal Glove for some LB damage. Dragon Helm just for high attack helm. Wings of the Warrior is for chain cap boost. And then these materials here, they used to be limited. Like they, only if you got them during the Clash event would you be able to have these. Now, with the current event that's going on, the Omega Spawn event, the tickets that you get from that you can actually buy these materials in the shop now using those tickets. So these are no longer limited materials, so definitely go pick those up. These are very helpful because they have killers for the, namely the fairy killer. That's the hardest one to build for. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You get 100% beast killer from this one, along with the chain cat boost, and then source of hope. So this came from I think one of the, I don't remember, one of the units or one of the events not too long ago. But everyone should have that. It's just for an extra bit of passive attack. And then this vision card you can also get from the 8th anniversary vision card select ticket, which there are 2 of. There are 2 of these select tickets in the shop for the current Omega Spawn event. So definitely go pick it up. That's where I got mine. So 300 Beast, 300 Fairy, LB damage, he's good to go. All right. So Rain is a Brave Shift unit. Honestly, I just synced both of his forms, so they both have the exact same gear. And so, yeah, pretty much the same stats. But we are going to be using his Brave Shift form because it has a higher LB mod. All right. So, yeah, just a high attack greatsword, high attack gear, blah-de-blah. Indestructible light for chain cat boost. He's got his own TMR equipped. His own STMR isn't really all that fantastic. It just gives him some flat stats, so I didn't bother. To pick up an extra copy of it. Taivas's STMR on the other hand is actually quite good because it's high attack with 100% TDH on it, which is quite nice. So I do have a couple of copies, or I do have a extra copy of that one. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. He's overcapped on beast because he's got Ifrit Esper, 3 Fairy Killer, 3 LB damage. Good to go. All right, Celeste. We don't really care about her normal form. That can be whatever integration form. Warrior's Red Scarf is really nice for the Fairy Killer because getting her her Fairy Killers up to max is a little bit tough because she has no innate Fairy Killer. So Battle Intelligence is another nice one. It's got 50% Spirit Killer plus, Soaring Legendary Dragon, and she is pretty much good to go. I just threw this card on her, and she should be 300 Fairy, 300 Beast, 350 LB. She's good to go. All right, Prompto, we honestly don't care. You can throw Titus's Garb on him for the preemptive LB boost. You know, it's not going to make a huge difference in his damage. He's pretty garbage damage anyways. But I did build him as best I could in his Brave Shift form because this is the one that has Mirror of Equity chains, and it is this stronger limit burst. So 2 guns, just high attack gear. Rogue's Talisman is good because it does have some extra attack on there for him. That was from the event. Hopefully you got that. And then, yeah, just capping up his TDW, capping up his Beast Killer. He has some innate Fairy Killer, which is good. And so hitting Fairy Killer is not too hard. So Beast Killer, Fairy Killer, and LB damage, and he is good to go. Stern. So Stern's just double equipping swords. If I had like the Dark Visions one-handed greatsword, I'd slot that in place of Dark Ragnarok just for a higher weapon in peril, but honestly I don't care. So yeah, just maxing out his TDW, high attack gear, blah blah blah, LB damage, all that stuff, yada yada yada. I think he hits 300 Beast and 275 Fairy, so yeah, not too bad. He's really just here just as another example of a elite soldier and a light category unit. All right, I think we're good to go. So let's get on in there and see how we do it. Okay, so let's see. To start off with, Willie is just going to do Safeguard, Siege, and Attrition. Okay. Celeste will just do Coordinated Teamwork, Dazzling Neon, Intelligent Combat, which does the Beast Killer. Taivas, on this turn, I'm just going to have him fill his LB. That's all I really care about. Rain on this turn. I don't think there's honestly anything he needs to do on this turn. Oh yeah, Elemental Shelter. That's good because it just does a 200% fire buff. So that takes care of your fire buff for Wilhelm. Stern is just going to guard. Prompto can go ahead. Since we're going to burst on turn 4, we'll just go ahead and do Weakening Blast. We'll go ahead and fill his LB because mine's only EX1 and just like deteriorate for something to do. Honestly, we don't even need to do Weakening Blast because Rain can do an 89% defense and Spirit Break. So really, Prompto is just here for the fields. That's it. But just in case you don't have Rain, you know. All right. Let's do Wilhelm first. Wilhelm can just do, honestly, nothing. He doesn't need to do anything on this turn, I don't think. What does he need to do? Oh yeah, anti-fairy strategy. So we have some fairy killer for the party. That's what he needs to do. All right, Celeste needs to replace the field. Bright Future for the 100% amp for the party, and then just like as something to do. Taivas on this turn can do... We'll have him do Fighter of Light, Large Sword. Elmont, Anti-Armor Exterminator. That's going to do a 200% Beast Killer on himself and a single ally, so we're going to give it to Crimson Knight Rain. And then his last one can be whatever. We'll just say One Last Wish. Rain on this turn. He'll do Shield Crusher for the 40% Greatsword in peril. As you can see, it also does an 89% defense and Spirit Break. So, like I said, you don't really need Prompto for that, but it is there. I don't think he needs to do his Fighter of Large Sword. Oh yeah, he does, obviously, for his LB. Duh. Okay. Can also do... Actually, we don't need to do Fairy Killer because we already have Fairy Killer thanks to Wilhelm. So Wilhelm also does a 160 Fairy Killer to the whole party. So we'll do Fighter of Fire Large Sword. We'll do Shield Crusher. And then just like incremental energy or something. Alright, Stern can guard again. We'll go ahead and shift Prompto, why not? And he can just do Mechanical Trap for the Imperil field. So that does Fire, Ice, and Light. So that's why if you brought Clive on board, Clive would obviously, if you brought Clive in place of Stern, then Clive would be your leader, because he does 1250 to elite soldiers. So that would be your leader for the party. Okay. On this turn, we're going to get ready for the big burst. So let's do Limitless Surge. We'll just do Sacred Spear to, make sure he's imbued. Decisive Point Charge for the 150 amps. All right. Now, since my Taivas is not EX2, he does not have his 150 amp, unfortunately, but that's okay. He's going to do Elemental Break Light, which he does get at EX1, which is really nice. So he gets the 200% Imperil at EX1. Surpassing Limits, and it doesn't matter what the last thing he does is. Let me just say my body has limits. You do notice that his Overdrive is active, so we'll use that next turn. Rain on this turn just needs to do Surpassing Limits for the 500% LB damage buff. I'm going to go ahead and shift. I probably should have gone ahead and just shifted Rain, so I don't forget to do it next turn. But we're going to go ahead and shift Celeste, because for some reason I always forget to shift her before I do her damage. Alright. We're going to do Elemental Burst Light. We haven't even reached our prime. And then we're going to do Circular Saw for the 30% Sword Imperil for Stern. So he has at least a higher than his 25% innate Imperil. Alright, Surpassing Limits, Fighter of Light Sword, and it doesn't matter what the last action is. Alright. And obviously if you had Clive, you would use his 200% LB field. You would not use Celeste's field on this one, since Clive would be locked to fire. Alright, so we'll use the Overdrive now. You see it activates for everybody except for Prompto, and that's okay. We don't really care. Prompto's damage is garbage anyways. Okay, so Taivas's LB is a 5-hit finisher. Okay, so it does 5 hits all in quick succession, but there's a bit of a wind-up. So you have to send him first, all right, wait a second, and then send your chainers to make sure that all 5 of his hits land within the chain. Prompto is just going to chain, we're just going to chain, we're just going to shift and chain. Don't forget to shift. Okay, LB. So everybody's doing their LBs. So like I said, I'm going to tap Taivas first because we've already got our 40% sword and peril, our large sword and peril, so we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, all of our weapon and perils are in place. So I'm just going to send Taivas. I'm going to wait for a second, and then I'm going to send Celeste and Wilhelm. Let them ramp up the chain for our TDW units down here at the bottom. Okay, and then I will send them. All right, well, let's do it. All right, we got to do 12.5. Let's see how much overkill we do. 40 bill. All right. We more than tripled the damage cap. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And that's with like rubbish gear, you know, 2 EX1 units, you know. Let's see how they measure up. All right, the mustache leading the way. The mustache leading the way. Wow, that's really low for Taivas. That's surprising. He's usually closer to Rain, but yeah. So usually Taivas and Rain are pretty comparable, but that's fine. You know, that is when you have a TDH unit, there is a fair bit of variance involved, and so Wilhelm obviously doing really well because he's got a 50% weapon peril plus he's EX3, so you know. Obviously, he's leading the way. Willie almost hit the damage cap himself. That's pretty impressive. But you can see between those three, you know, you're doing just fine. You could honestly take Wilhelm out of the equation and use Crimson Knight Rain as your magic tank. But, you know, a lot of options there. And then, you know, Celeste and Stern just kind of bringing up the rear. Prompto doing jack squat, as you might imagine. Although it is interesting that Wilhelm plus Prompto equals the damage cap. That's pretty nice. All right, so just Wilhelm and Prompto by themselves hit the damage cap. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, so anyways, that's just me playing around with the new units. If this helps, great. If not, hopefully it was entertaining. So thanks for sticking around, guys. I'll work on, I'm going to get to work on Vlad and try and see if I can get that finished and get that out to you guys today. So hopefully I can. So stick around, and I'll see you on the other side.